Sorry, Woody. Hi, welcome to the sports show. Well, that seemed like the only thing. Like East St. Louis is across from
West
St. Louis,
Hong Kong.
West Memphis. That seems to make sense. This is Patrick Saunders, the best beat writer in the country, covering baseball for the Denver Post. He covers the Colorado Rockies, but we're not here to talk about the Rockies. We may slip in one question. I'm Woody Paige. This sports show is presented by the Denver Post, and we'll spend the next hour with you answering all things Broncos, 24/7 Broncos, leading up to the Super Bowl a week from Sunday against the Carolina Panthers, and so much still going on day to day, and so many questions to ask, so many answers to give. And so we hope you'll stick with us. You can go to woodypage.com, you can go to denverpost.com, you can go to our YouTube station, you can go to our Facebook page, The Sports Show. You can tweet us and become involved in the show at The Sports Show and ask questions of your own, and you can actually Skype us at _sports_show, and we're all over everywhere on the internet and in your homes and in your lap. We start with the big stuff today, and the big stuff is Denver gets no respect. Rodney, to every team that's in the World Series, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Super Bowl says, we don't get enough respect. And so the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos are both playing, though. We don't get enough respect. Cam Newton, that was first thing after the game on Sunday. We don't get any respect. Number two, we'll be talking about, can Cam be the GOAT, greatest of all time, or is Peyton Manning in a position to at least be in the conversation for greatest of all time? We'll talk about those. And the Broncos are going to play in white. The good guys wear white. Is that the right thing to do? Patrick has joined us. Let's start out with that. The Broncos have chosen to play the game in white, all white uniforms.
Right.
The Orange Crush, the orange, the entire life. Is this a good idea? Bad idea?
Bad idea.
Why do you think they're doing it?
I think
would they be better off in orange, or would they be better off in the all blue uniforms?
No, I like the orange. I think it's become their signature. It's really always been their signature, despite what Pat Bowlen said years ago when they had predominantly orange uniforms, even though they were blue. I think they're doing it, Woody, because they won the last Super Bowl when Elway went out on top in Miami against Atlanta in all white. I guess that's why they're doing it. But no, you looked at that game Sunday in the orange crowd. This is an orange team. Go with that. I don't get the white.
They could have beaten the Atlanta Falcons if they were wearing their underwear.
That's true. That's true.
John Elway, I interviewed him on his 50th birthday. And we met at John Elway's restaurant. And at the time, the Broncos were making a decision to go back to the orange jerseys, right, white pants. And I said to John, do you like this? And he said, no, I like the all blue uniforms. He said, the blue uniforms to me, blue jerseys, the white pants, occasionally all blue.
Well, he won his first Super Bowl in that.
He never lost a game wearing blue jerseys.
True.
And I said, really? Oh, yeah. He said, we played all of our home games in blue jerseys, or all blue, and I never lost a game. He said, the next year, I never lost a game, and we went to Super Bowl, and I wore blue in the Super Bowl, and we won that. He said, I don't want to go back to orange. And if you look behind us, if we get a camera shot of it at some point during the show, Peyton Manning's wearing an all blue outfit that they wear as an alternative. And someone asked me today, why not play in the all blue uniform since John Elway had so much success in them? And I said, well, you can't play in your alternative uniforms.
In the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl. Well, I could be wrong about that. I've since thought about it. Carolina is 6-0 in black. That's their alternative uniform. They're 3-0 in teal.
Right.
So they're 9-0 for the season in teal and black. So they will get to choose. I would assume they're going to have to play in teal, and there they are on the big screen wearing the all teal. That would have been, I believe, no, that wouldn't have been the Thursday night game because the Cowboys would have been all in dark blue. So that was a game where they wore their third uniform. I don't like I agree with you. I don't like the all-white uniforms. Go with what you got. I don't care that they've lost Super Bowls. They lost Super Bowls because they weren't as good as the other
and
team.
John's not playing. Peyton's playing. And Peyton's done okay in orange. Peyton wore orange in Tennessee. He's worn orange as a Bronco. He wore blue and white, which is what he would look like as a Colt. He's a Bronco now. Go with the orange.
Yeah. So the Broncos are the home team. They chose to wear white. That's a Dallas Cowboys kind of thing. And there again, there's DeMarcus Ware wearing white. It's a nice look with the blue, but the orange is not prevalent. It's not predominant. It's not anything in the uniform except the gloves. And a lot of the players like wearing, because I asked, do you remember a guy named Wade that used to play? I'm not talking about Wade Phillips. The Broncos used to have a guy named Wade Manning that
sure.
played wide receiver and defensive back. He is now with the NFL as a uniform cop.
Yeah.
And he told me that teams are allowed to wear shoes if they are the predominant color of the team. And he said, but it's funny, guys will come out with green shoes on, and he'll go and warn them. You got to change that. He said, once he's warned them, then he fines them, and it's about $500 or something. And I said to him, I think that probably the sneaker companies or something will pay that. And he said, yeah, probably. But he said, it adds up because, again, at halftime, if they don't change at halftime, they fine them again for the second half. So the Broncos will wear the orange gloves. They'll wear orange undershirts. They'll probably wear orange cleats. They'll probably have some orange socks on. But I agree with you totally. Carolina, as I said, is 3-0 in teal, 6-0 in black. Did the Broncos play into the Panthers' hands for this, letting the Panthers be in their home uniforms?
Nah. Really? I mean, I don't think so. I don't know why the Broncos chose white, Woody, but...
Well, John Elway.
Yeah, no, I get that.
We've won. Well, you won one.
I think this is something we talk about, forgive me, the week before the real hype begins. I mean, I think next week and a week from Sunday, all the talk about what uniform color it's going to be, it's going to be pretty.
The team that plays the best will win. Yes. It won't matter the uniforms. Cooney Lexus Greenwood Village is Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer, conveniently located at I-25 in Bellevue. View their current specials and a large selection of new and certified pre-owned vehicles by going to CooneyLexusofGreenwoodVillage.com. But better than that, go out to Cooney Lexus at Bellevue and I-25.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village for exceptional customer service and world-class amenities. Take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
It's Sports Show. I'm Woody Paige. Patrick Saunders joining us today. He will be covering the Super Bowl. You have been around Colorado for all 8 Super Bowls. I've actually covered all 8. I would imagine you've covered 4 or 5. You were a Broncos beat writer for years and years. How many Super Bowls have you been to?
I was counting it the other day. This will be my 10th. It'll be my 4th with the Broncos team. Covered 1 when I was in Longmont, just starting out. 1 my first year with the Post, which was in Miami. So I saw Elway win both of his. And then I saw Peyton lose to Seattle. But then when I was a full-time Broncos writer, I went to a variety of Super Bowls. So this will be number 10 for me.
People ask me all the time how many I've been to, and I said, I really don't count them up, but it's in the 40s, and this is number 50, so I've surpassed it's 42 or something like that. Someday I'm going to sit down and actually go through it. I sat with Paul Zimmerman, longtime Dr. Z with Sports Illustrated. We were going from the I don't know what that All-Star game in Montgomery, Alabama, or somewhere in Louisiana, right. that all of the Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl, sure.
And he and I were driving from there to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and I said, go through, give me a quick answer. I'm going to name every Super Bowl. He had been to every one of them. He's been in real bad health the last few years and no longer is covering sports. But so we were doing this. This was 10, 12 years ago. And I would sit there with the notepad, and I wouldn't retell. I'd say, Super Bowl #1. And he'd give me a one-word answer. And I thought, well, maybe before the Super Bowl, someone will ask me that question. But I don't know that I could remember anything about if you said to me, and I'm going off stream here, Super Bowl, Cowboys, Steelers. There was a blimp overhead, and they were filming the movie Black Sunday.
Sure.
And I was watching the filming of the movie while the game was going on. And the star of it was a guy who played the villain in the James Bond movie From Russia with Love. He played the boat captain in Jaws.
Oh, Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw played the super cop, if you will, that was trying to prevent the blowing up of the Super Bowl. And he comes flying through the stadium at one point during the game, and his part called for him to actually jump onto the field and try and save the players or something. And he climbs over the stadium. This was at the old Orange Bowl in Miami. He climbs over the side of the stadium, and a security guard grabs him, which is not part of the script. And Robert Shaw shows him his pass.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, okay, you can go ahead. So that's how lax security was. But also, and this is not so funny, they were doing a terrorist attack on the Super Bowl. And a blimp has a bomb in it. And the blimp driver, who, he's a famous actor too.
Bruce Dern?
God, good memory. Bruce Dern is actually going to land the blimp on the stadium. And so in the movie, it's the Steelers and the Cowboys, and they just start running in all directions. Well, that didn't actually happen, but you could see the blimp kind of coming in as if it were part of the movie. They were kind of coming in low with it. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, that wasn't really a segment, but that's my memory. If anybody ever asked me, what's your most vivid memory of the Super Bowl? This one's for John. That Super Bowl and Robert Shaw running onto the field in Super Bowl 10, I think it was. But those two Cowboys, Steelers Super Bowls that were like 8 and 10 were two of the greatest Super Bowls in history until the Broncos played the Packers. And not because I was covering the Packers in the Broncos Super Bowl or the Broncos. And
just the quality of the game itself.
That was the best
there were
game.
There were a lot of dogs through the years.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of good games since then. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, the premier men's health clinic in Colorado. My friends over there, in one visit, they can turn your life around. You can reclaim the fun, excitement, intimacy of sex through a unique program that focuses on the individual patient. But also, you can get tested about your full health. And it's important as a man that you have sexual health, but that you have your entire health going forward, and they can help you out. RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com, 720-440-7900.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
I'm back on target with the sports show. Patrick Saunders, Woody Paige. Gary Kubiak has played in 3 Super Bowls. Now, when you say, well, he never played, he was behind Elway. He held for all the field goals and extra point kicks. He was an assistant in 3 Super Bowls, and I saw a story that left out that he was the quarterback's coach with the San Francisco 49ers when they won a Super Bowl.
And with Shanahan
was the offensive coordinator, and Steve Young won a Super Bowl, and now he's a head coach in one. Oddly enough, this is the first time that 2 head coaches actually played in the game. And Ron Rivera played for the '85 Bears and was an assistant coach with the Chicago Bears when they lost to Peyton Manning.
That's
right.
Well,
they got a lot of twists and turns here. He's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Who do you think, from a coaching standpoint, put you on the spot, has an edge in experience, but also who's the better head coach?
You know what? I am going to say Kubiak, and I'm not trying to be a homer. I think his seasoning, all those things you mentioned, everything he's learned from the West Coast offense to being under Shanahan, to the job he's done this year, Woody. You think about it. He basically had to steer this team through a lot of injuries, 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different styles of quarterbacks. He took a team that last year, with essentially many of the same players, which gave up early in the playoffs, he turned this into one of the most tenacious, most aggressive, most want-to teams that we've seen in a long time here. I think Kubiak steering the ship through all of that in his first year with this organization as a head coach, with, I think, decidedly less talent, certainly on offense, I think the job he's done is remarkable. I would give the edge to him with the caveat that his right-hand man Wade Phillips deserves some sort of accolade as co-coach of the year or something, because he's been remarkable.
Well, you touched upon it at the end. I'm going to agree with you, and I've been more critical of Gary Kubiak, I think, than most people in the media this year, because I was disappointed in kind of that Dan Reeves style of coaching. But we talk about he learned from Shanahan. He learned, he was an assistant coach with Baltimore. He has been a head coach before in Houston, got to the playoffs, but underachieved in certain years, got fired there. I tend to find that coaches that get fired, like Belichick, from their first job, do a better job the second time around they get it. But
Mike Shanahan, too?
Yeah, Oakland Raiders.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they learn from that experience. I would say this. You have to give the edge to Kubiak because he was smart enough to hire Wade Phillips. I mean, I think that was the best hire by a head coach in the entire National Football League. Wade and I are coming off the field, and I said to him, "Congratulations, old timer." And he always reminds me he's a year younger than I am. He looks older than me. And he said, "Yeah, it's hard to believe a year ago I was watching this game on television. And I couldn't get a job."
He
And
was
that's what
unemployed
saying.
a year ago, right?
Yeah, he couldn't even get an interview a year ago. Now, I think there are probably 26, 27 teams that would hire him as defensive coordinator.
You know what I find fascinating about Wade Phillips? It's not the X's and O's so much, because he's always been known for that. To being able to take the talent he has, mold a defense to fit his talent, and still make it an aggressive unit. I'm amazed that as young as, or as old as he is, and as long as he's been around, the rapport he has with a lot of these young guys who are generations removed from him, it's pretty good. You hear those Broncos defenders, they do nothing but praise Wade Phillips for letting them play the way they can play. And that's not always the case with an older coach. I think you got to give props to Wade Phillips for that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up yesterday, and thank you for leading me in that direction. That my demographic on Around the Horn in ESPN is kind of young people, and it kind of surprises the executives there. Wade Phillips, I think, has stretched the generational gap that you would think that players would want somebody that's maybe young, or maybe in a lot of cases African American that they would deal with. That here is an old white guy who has been around the league forever, and they really do not only appreciate him, respect him, but they get a kick out of him because he gets up every week and talks about the Texas players on the other team. He was making reference after Sunday's game that this was a defense that was in more close games than the 1978 Houston Oilers, and he said, "You know why I know that? I played on that team." He learned from Kubiak learned from Mike Shanahan. They were both out of the Dan Reeves system, but they also were both out of the Bill Walsh system in San Francisco. Kubiak then, as I said, was his own head man in Houston, and then he went to Baltimore and he got some more advice and more understanding of how to coach the game from another direction. Wade Phillips was a son of a bum. He trained under Bum Phillips. He's been with like 12 different teams as a defensive coordinator. He's learned in each stop how to do it. So I would give the edge to the Denver Broncos. Let's turn to ESPN is rated. Here's an odd stat. You're talking about the week before and trying to find things to write about. ESPN rated the top 50 players that are going to be in the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. I wanted last week, when people were saying the New England Patriots were a better talented team than the Broncos, I wanted to go position by position and never got around to doing that. I'd like to kind of do that the next week or so to kind of see which would you rather have at each position. Who do you think they picked as the number one player, the most talented player in the Super Bowl? And
for this coming Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Well, I know who I would pick.
Who would you pick?
I would pick Cam Newton.
Well, that's who I thought they would have picked, but it was not. Look, it's Luke Kuechly, the defensive player for the Panthers. They rated him number one. Number two was the guy that was picked number two to Cam Newton, Von Miller.
So they put Cam Newton as number three?
Number three overall in the Super Bowl. Do you also know, just to throw it out there, that this is the first time in Super Bowl history the guys who were drafted number one and number two in one draft are playing against each other, Von Miller and Cam Newton. If you had to do it over again, and you were the Denver Broncos, and you had the opportunity to draft either one of them, who would you have drafted?
I would have drafted Cam Newton.
Me too, yep. Order Papa John's Bronco, yes. I mean, a quarterback who could become the greatest quarterback of all time. There are talks, can he be better than Peyton Manning and Tom Brady when it's finished? Yes.
Or Joe Montana,
Yeah.
John Elway.
Order Papa John's Broncos 18 special. Speaking of Peyton Manning, the 18 special today, Broncos 18 special, 2 large 3-topping pizzas for $18 using the promo code Broncos18. Don't know if you've ever done this. Hugh and I do this. We order, and you can build your own pizza, and you can see it actually being built. You can start with the toppings and the marinara sauce, and you can put cheese on it, and you can see it being built in front of your eyes. It shows you that I actually have a really dull, boring life. But go there, 3 toppings, 2 pizzas, only $18. Use the promo code Broncos18 at the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza
Better football.
at the new papajohns.com.
So I'm walking down where I live last night. I was right by the restaurant Jing's, and walked in, and the guy goes, "Hi, Mr. Paige," and it's Aqib Talib and his kid and his fiance. And so I went over and talked to him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Paige is what he said?
Oh, all the young players, they call him Coach Wade or Coach Phillips. They call me Mr. Paige. I've reached that point in life, and it's not out of respect, it's because I'm so old. But Aqib, I went up to Aqib after the game, and everybody's talking to Chris Harris Jr. at that point. And I said, Aqib, I want to talk to you. And he said, well, homie, give me some love on TV. So I went up to him last night. He said, Mr. Paige. So I go over and I said, I gave you love on the sports show and Round the Horn today. And he said, I got to watch those. So I was talking to him about the 2-point conversion, and that Gronk was wide open on that play, and what he was doing. He was taking on Edelman on the play. And he said that when Brady rolled right, that his number one target was White, the running back, and that Chris Harris had blown up White, that he was blitzing on a play and just blew into White. So that removed his number one option. And so at that point, Brady, instead of going to Gronk, turned to Edelman, who was on the other side of the field. And Talib told me that he set up Brady, that he gave some space to Edelman because he knew that Brady was throwing across his body across the field. And he said, I want him to think that he's open. And he said, I had plenty of time to bust up the play, tips the pass, and Bradley Roby intercepts it. He called Cam Newton the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL because I was saying, you just finished 2 Hall of Famers that are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers, Roethlisberger and Brady. He said, Cam Newton is a lot more dangerous than him. He said he can run like a wide receiver, he can run like a running back, and now he can throw like a quarterback, and that he's smart like a smart quarterback. Do you think that Cam Newton is a tougher task for the Broncos than the 2 quarterbacks they faced?
Much tougher. And I'll add this. People don't realize this, I don't think, because Cam Newton is so athletic, Woody. He's big. I mean, he's a linebacker. I mean, everybody talks about Big Ben being Big Ben. But Cam Newton's not easy to bring down. And you talk about that play at the goal line. Think about extra point. Think of the option the Panthers would have in a similar situation, right? You could throw the ball. He could roll out. He could bust it up the middle. Yeah, I think he is finally, in my mind, we've been seeing this for a decade or more, the athletic quarterback who has a strong arm, but everybody keeps saying the next step is for them to become a pocket presence too. To me, he is kind of become the pinnacle of all of that right now. And I think he's by far, they've only lost 1 game all year, and it's his team. And I think he's by far the most talented, most dangerous, and maybe the most entertaining player in all the NFL.
Yeah, he has become the face of the face of the NFL now.
He really has.
It's not Tim Tebow, forgive me. It's not Johnny Football. It's not RG3.
It's not Peyton
Sam
Manning.
Bradford. It's not Peyton Manning anymore. It's not even Tom Brady now, even though he's was defending a world champion and is considered the best quarterback, I believe, of all time now. That Peyton Manning and Tom Brady can be passed by Cam Newton. Let me just mention something in passing, no pun intended. Cam Newton won a junior college national championship. He won at Auburn the national championship. He won the Heisman Trophy. He's going to win the MVP.
I think he won a high school state championship, too.
Didn't know that, but he won the national championship. But being a so he's won at every level. And I've mentioned to people that when I didn't see him in junior college, I've seen highlights, but at Auburn he was a man among boys.
He was.
And I mean, in the NFL he's a man among boys. And oddly enough, when he came in the league, there were questions, and people questioned his fashion statements. The fact that he maybe didn't take blame for what he was doing. He's matured into a great player, and I think he's matured into a good person, a really good person. That he's fun for the Carolina Panthers.
You know what? People forget. With hindsight, people think, oh, here's this young, brash quarterback. People forget when John Elway came into the NFL in the '83 draft. There's a lot of people who didn't like John Elway. They thought he was brash. They thought he was arrogant. He said if he didn't go to someplace other than Baltimore, I'll go play baseball for the New York Yankees. People thought he was a loose cannon. People thought he took too many risks. It's all a matter of perspective. Eventually, if a quarterback's going to be a great quarterback, they're going to mature, and Cam Newton's doing that right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd add about it is we talked about all those spread quarterbacks that came in the league. He actually played a spread offense at Auburn at the time. Gus Moslin brought in the spread. He was created a high school spread kind of offense in Arkansas. And he's no longer a spread quarterback. He is a complete quarterback. Run, pass, pocket passer, run passer. It's not a spread offense. All those spread quarterbacks have spread out and not really done that well. I think that he is going to be. You're right. I think Roethlisberger was hurt. To what extent, we don't know. Brady is scrunched in the pocket and was able to be hit and brought down.
Rattled.
Cam Newton is not going to be that way. Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village is Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. Go out and see Greg Stone and his people. Go see the waterfall, shoot pool, go into the movie theater. I've recommended, I told Greg I'd talk about this. If you got a date on Friday night, go there and have a latte, watch a movie, and shoot pool and enjoy some snacks. And then after it closes at 9 o'clock, then go have dinner somewhere. That's Cooney Lexus.
Oh, I thought you were...
And while you're there, look at some cars.
I was going to say, drive home in a Lexus after you played pool.
Yeah, I've had 5 straight Lexus. There's a reason, and if you trust me at all, if you don't trust me, there's a reason. Lexus are great cars. Cooney Lexus, Greenwood Village.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village. For exceptional customer service and world-class amenities, take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
Take a break from talking about the Denver Broncos, talk about the Colorado Rockies. Patrick Saunders with us. He's been covering the Colorado Rockies for quite some time as the lead beat writer. And Blackman has just signed. He was eligible for arbitration. Right. He kind of split the difference. He said he was perplexed that the Broncos went out and got Parra. Should he be perplexed? Is the reason why he's perplexed is because he could be gone and replaced in center field. Parra said the other day, yeah, I don't mind playing center field. What's going to happen there in the outfield? Your best guess.
A month and a half ago, I was pretty convinced Cargo was going to get traded. I'm not very convinced now. After conversations with Bridich and some other people, I think Cargo stays at least through the offseason, maybe to July. If any of those left-handed hitting outfielders, and they have 4 of them now, is going to get traded, my guess would be Corey Dickerson. If a team can give the Rockies enough in return, if they're not scared out by the plantar fasciitis that Corey had last year, I think that is the move they're most likely to make. There's rumors all over the web today about that very trade, Tampa Bay being one of them. So that's my
what would you want to see them get in return for Dickinson, who is in the mold of Todd Helton, where he's a natural hitter. He's going to hit.
Right.
He's going to be a 300 hitter his whole career.
You're
He's
exactly right.
Not a good defensive outfielder. Not really big enough to be a first baseman. No, Todd wasn't a gigantic guy.
But Todd was a gifted first baseman.
Yeah.
I don't see Corey ever being that.
Yeah.
They got to go with pitching, Woody. I mean, they haven't done anything. Well, they've added 2 relievers. But my whole thing is, I think they need, and I've said this time and time again, and I've told Jeff Bridich this, I think they need to add a veteran starting pitcher to help mold, mentor this staff, and also give somebody gives you a solid chance every time out. The only one right now with proven who can do that is Jorge De La Rosa, and he's in the final year of his contract. That's what I think they need to do. Whether they're going to do it or not, I don't know. It's looking less and less likely.
Well, I think they're in love with Chad Bettis. They're in love with the 3 or 4 of their younger pitchers. They think De La Rosa can be a guy who's had injury problems the last couple of years, that he could be that solid guy you're talking about. Let me bring up something to you. I wanted to ask you off the air. I think they're guilty of this, that they have forgotten or never realized. Somewhere got lost between the beginning of the Rockies franchise and now is that you're going to have to pay double on the market. That if
for a pitcher,
for David Price's out there, that if people are going to offer $100 million, you got to offer $200 million. That pitchers don't want to come here of that ilk. That they've lost sight of that. That you can't go bargain with a pitcher on the same level as everybody else. You can get the Cargos of the world, and he's a rare commodity, but you can get position players on an even keel because they want to come here because they know their numbers are going to go up. But do you get that feeling that they don't think that when they go out and then they're looking at a pitcher that they think, oh, well, if we offer $45 million, why won't they come? That was from the very beginning. You know that being here, that you got to pay twice as much.
But you know
that's
why
how they got Hampton.
Exactly, but you know that's why they're not going to ever do it again, at least not in the Monfort era, because of Hampton and Nagel. Dan O'Dowd came in. I know, I agree with you. At some point they've got to, but they aren't. Hampton and Nagel came in, they threw a boatload at them, they flamed out. Supposedly it hurt the franchise coming off all those great years with that incredible attendance, and it made them gun shy. It made O'Dowd gun shy, it made Monfort gun shy, and I think it's still making Jeff Bridich gun shy. I think they owe it to the fans, and I've written this. The fans have been so loyal and have packed that stadium for so long, and this team has been so bad the last 4 or 5 years. They owe it to this fan base to at least try to make an effort to make some bold moves, shake it up, do something different. I'm so tired of wait till next year with this franchise.
I will end with this. We'll have a lot of time to talk about the Rockies in the next month, pitchers and catcher report, that I think they feel like the fan base owes them. Yeah, we're trying hard. You know, we put up the party deck and we try hard. We brought you an entertaining show, but I don't think they think the other way, that as Jerry McMorris felt like and said to me at the time, we feel like we owe the loyalty, and that's why he tried to go out and get pitchers and overspent. They didn't work out all the time. That what they think is Kyle Kendrick. Okay, we'll go get a guy who's washed up or has only got an arm or two, a year or two in his arm, and we'll give him $5.5 million, $6 million, and that'll work out. It never does work out.
Well, and let me say one thing real quick. I know for a fact there are players inside that clubhouse who have told me they want ownership and management to prove to them that this franchise is serious about winning, and that means going out and getting some decent pitching.
And that's gone on. Todd Helton, who wouldn't say it publicly, and others, going back to Matt Holliday and
Tulo.
Over and over again. Yeah, too low.
Exactly.
Well, we have a news break with Molly Hughes. We continue in a moment.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom. Denver-based Coors Light is getting a makeover. Molson Coors is launching a new advertising campaign, and this time you will not be seeing hot babes in the commercials. After years of using the frat boy hot babes formula, Miller Coors is going in a different direction. New Coors Light TV commercials will start running at the X Games this Sunday. They feature new packaging and a new approach aimed at attracting women between the ages of 35 and 44. The ads encourage the viewer to conquer their goals by climbing whatever mountain would represent success in their life. Sales of Coors Light have taken a hit, along with other brands, as consumers gravitate to the craft beer craze. Although Miller Coors chairman Pete Coors says sales volume increased 1% in the last quarter, and international sales have been strong enough to offset losses in the U.S. market.
One of our favorite segments every day, this time of the day, and joining Patrick Saunders from the Denver Post, Woody Paige. And now, who are you, sir?
My name is Hugh Johnson with the Denver Post. I'm a digital sports producer, and this is What's Trending Now.
What do you got for Patrick? I don't think I've seen
You haven't seen the finger roll yet.
No, I have. I thought you were an offensive lineman.
So, Jill Ellis, the U.S. women's national soccer team head coach, announced the roster for next month's Olympic qualification tournament. And among the names, the big names, Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, and Hope Solo, was Mountain Vista High School's own Mallory Pugh. She's 17 years old, and she's in this qualification tournament. Could she be the next Mia Hamm, guys?
I don't have any idea.
You know what? Interesting. We talked a lot about her recently at the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame. I believe she's our high school athlete of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Right. The people who've seen her think she has a chance to be, I don't know if she's going to be, who you mentioned, Granny Chastain or something, but I've heard she is, certainly one of the top 20 young players in the country.
Colorado will never be a great baseball mecca. It's produced its share, but it's, and football players, there have been a few basketball players, but you would think that this would be a soccer-rich area,
right,
because there are hundreds upon hundreds. I mean, schools play soccer, high schools, and it's a big, big deal in Colorado. So you would think there would be more quality players, both young men and young women, coming out of here. And the Rapids have had a couple of players who grew up in Colorado. So I'm not shocked that it's happening. I think I'm more shocked that it doesn't happen more often, that world-class players are not coming out of Colorado.
All right, guys. And the Colorado Avalanche are in a bit of trouble at goalie today. The only two goalies there are Patrick Roy and Roman Will. Calvin Pickard, who was scheduled to start tonight against the Sharks, is ill and back at the team's hotel in San Jose. And of course, Varley is in Denver court today for a district civil case. What do you guys think will happen tonight? Will Roman Will be able to fill in the position if Calvin Pickard cannot play tonight?
No, that Patrick was going to be there.
You may have to suit up.
That'd be great.
I would imagine that they'll bring somebody up from the Monsters for just a time, and I think you got a 4-game winning streak.
Right.
So, it's not the end of the world, and you might get hot with the young guy tonight. There's a lot of confidence building on that team, so I don't consider it. If Varley's in court for 15 days and Picard's sick or hurt for 14 days, then you got a problem. But it's not as if they were going to win the rest of their games anyway.
But I joke about Waugh, but he has actually been playing a little bit because he's trying to get in shape for the Old Timers game. I believe that's going to be in conjunction with the thing at Coors Field, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's put on the pads a few times lately.
And put on the weight.
Yes. Not that we would talk, Woody.
Is that it for you today?
That's it for me.
That's good.
Thanks,
Thank you. And tell them on the way out how they get a hold of you, Hugh.
All righty. My name is Hugh Johnson with the Denver Post. You can find me on Twitter at HughJohnsonDP. And this has been What's Trending Now.
And our live guest, and Hugh obviously qualifies, appear courtesy of Papa John's the day after every Avalanche win. Think about that tomorrow. Get 50% off your regular menu price. That's online order. You use the promo code AVS at thenewpapajohns.com.
When the Avs win, you win at Papa John's. All season long, the day after every Avs win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com by entering promo code AVS. That's right. Just enter promo code AVS online at papajohns.com the day after every Avs win for 50% off your entire online order.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
The Spurs were blown out last night by the Warriors. Tim Duncan didn't play, and I talked about this at length yesterday. Does that mean anything going forward? They're 1-2 in the Western Conference.
No. I mean,
it was a real blowout, though.
No, I get that. I get that. But I don't think it means anything. I mean, we've seen blowouts in the NBA Finals, and the team that gets blown out turns around the next game and blows out the other team. You look back years ago, and I'm showing my age here, but think back to the Celtics-Lakers rivalry. There were games there where the Lakers would blow out the Celtics or vice versa. The team would come back the next day and do the exact opposite. I don't think it's setting a pecking order or anything else right now.
I thought when the Cavaliers and Warriors played recently, and I said there are no important games in January in the NBA. It's like worrying about the NBA game in the second quarter. But that game, I think, turned the Cavaliers every which way but loose. They fired their coach. They're talking about trades. Kevin Love may be out of there. This won't affect the Spurs going forward. But it was almost like Greg Popovich was playing with them. Oh, if we lose, it's because we don't have Duncan. If we win, we can beat you instead of Duncan. They got 3 more games to play against each other. We'll look back at that time. Blake Griffin broke his hand in a, quote, team-related activity. We don't know what that means, whether that was lifting a beer can or trying to lift a car or trying to jump over a car. Do you believe it was a team-related activity? We don't know. And what does this mean for the Clippers, who have struggled at times? They've had a good stretch, but they're not in the conversation anymore as being the strongest of the 2 or even 3.
Don't you get the feeling that their window is closed? I mean, 2 years ago or so, the Clippers seemed to be kind of the up-and-coming power along with Oklahoma City, and then for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because they don't use Blake Griffin as well as perhaps they should. They don't play defense very well, I don't think. They just, to me, they're that second-tier team. They're not an elite team. And I thought by now they might have been.
Yeah, they're below the elite level. Right. And there's even talk about Chris Paul and Kyrie Irving being traded for each other. Would you like that deal if you were either one of those teams?
I like Chris Paul a lot.
Would you give up him for? Well, I mean, Irving's a lot younger.
I don't know. I'm going to have to beg off. I'm not an NBA expert, Woody.
I would. If I were the Clippers, I would. Chris Paul is the face of that franchise. That franchise sold for $2 billion. I don't think you worked so hard to get him there. I certainly wouldn't do that. The Avs, as I mentioned, they won again to go forward. They're playing tonight. Are they definitely a playoff team?
I think so. I think so. I think that I much prefer a team like the Avs, who seem, in my mind, to be searching for kind of an identity, searching for the right combinations early, and then things start to click and they get better as the season goes along. I like that a lot better than a team that comes out of the gate hot, which the Avs have done sometimes in the past, and then you see the flaws more and more and more as the season goes on. I think the Avs are going the other way. I think they're finding themselves, finding the right lines, finding the right chemistry. Yeah, I think they're definitely a playoff team. I don't think they're going to go very far.
I agree with you. 6-8 weeks ago, you said, nah, defensively, they just didn't make enough of a move there. They were having problems finding their lines, and then they said, okay, we're going to put our 2 best players on the same line. That reminded me of Sakic and Forsberg. Varley's finally come around, and you hope that mentally he's not affected by this old case that was dismissed in criminal court, and now there's some civil action. Yeah. Finally, Carolina and Denver playing in the Super Bowl. If I tell you, I'm pointing a gun at you. Carolina barbecue or green chili?
Oh, green chili. It's not even close.
Oh, give me a break.
No, green chili. Put it on your eggs. You can put it on your burger. You can have tortillas in it. You can put it on anything.
Eggs, yep.
It's not even close.
Carolina barbecue, you put it on eggs. You can put it on your chili. You can put it on your green chili.
Put it in a
You can mix it with green chili. I grew up in the
I'm
South.
a huge green chili fan. As a matter of fact,
I
actually texted Mark Schlereth today because I like Mark Schlereth's green chili a lot. And he can't get it at Safeway anymore. At least I don't think so. So I texted him. I said, what's going on? Where can I find this? Because I really like it. And he told me Costco. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
Oh, you can. Who cares? And you can get Carolina barbecue all over town because there's a reason why. Because there's Kansas City barbecue, Texas barbecue, Southern barbecue, pulled pork. There's nothing like it, including Mark Schlereth chili or anybody else's green chili. Four on the Floor is brought to you by Citywide Banks, family-owned, Colorado-focused business bank, 12 locations across Denver and Boulder, 25 services that can help your big business or your small business. They're a passionate supporter of more than 150 Colorado charities each year. Why? Because they're family-owned, they're Colorado-focused. It's where we do our banking at the sports show. I think you'll be pleased if you do too.
I am Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
At Citywide Banks,
we put you first by exceeding your service expectations every day.
Every day.
You go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
Yeah. If you liked Hugh Johnson, you're going to love Madison Faulkner. Her last name's Faulkner. Does that name ring a bell with you?
Some certain famous author, I believe.
One of her relatives. Yep. Here she is, Madison.
That's amazing.
Madison's Mailbag. What do you got?
So our first tweet today is from Robert Twommy00, and he wants to know, is John Elway an even better GM than a player? 2 Super Bowls in the first 5 years as GM is pretty impressive.
No. He was one of the top 5 quarterbacks, as far as I'm concerned, of all time. He has been an outstanding general manager. He's been up for executive year, and he's finished second or third. I don't think it's his best year as a general manager. He did bring up the kicking and screaming. He was all of his players he made a big decision to fire his coach and his offensive coordinator. His defensive coordinator left, and he reworked his team. So John has been a great general manager, and that's what he wanted to be from the moment he retired as a player. So he's been a great he's done an outstanding job as a general manager, as you pointed out, the 2 Super Bowls, but he was one of the best quarterbacks ever lived.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. He's got a ways to go before his GM tenure outshines what he did on the football field.
It'd be interesting if he could make it as a Hall of Famer as a GM after making it as a player. Yeah.
Perfect. And the last tweet that we selected for today was from Denver_fan, and he wants to know, what's up with Demaryius Thomas? Looks like the only guy not kicking and screaming, and appears he's ready for vacation.
He can afford it.
Yeah, let me take this too. He's a mystery to me. He's got all the physical talent in the world. He can make the most incredible catches, and he can disappear for a long time. And I know sometimes it's about matchups. But boy, if he's ever going to have the biggest game of his life, it better be on Super Bowl Sunday, because he just hasn't, to me, proven that he is one of the elite wide receivers, and he has the talent to be so.
And he's been a $7 man this year, as far as I'm concerned. He's not bringing the ball into his body. He's not fighting over guys to get the passes. I think they talking about John Elway, made a tragic mistake not franchising him this year, because he got his money, and talk about the situation with his mom and everything else. He just hasn't been a quality receiver. Against Pittsburgh, he had 1 good catch for the 2-point conversion. Against New England, you can't even remember a pass.
Two catches for 12 yards, I believe. I wish he had the same mentality that Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey used to have.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh!
Drew Mailbag.
Yeah, no, I think that he definitely needs to step it up and prove himself in the Super Bowl this week. But
Well, that's how she would answer. That's why we answer the questions and not she asked them. Madison Faulkner with her mailbag.
Yep.
check out Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic because sexual issues can be symptoms of other more serious conditions like diabetes, strokes, heart attack, prostate problems. So go in and let them do a complete checkup for you. So your health is the most important thing you have in your life. So get in touch with them at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. You can go to their website and find out more information.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Well, what is it? I said to you earlier, my Super Bowl memories, this one's for talking about John Elway. 77 is my most vivid memory, even though it's the longest time ago, 38 years ago. Before the game, and people who haven't been Broncos fans that long, like you as a kid, and your dad covered that game with me. And wrote some of the best pieces to come out of New Orleans about Steve Foley. I bring that up with Steve Foley. Steve Foley, who's a cornerback and safety with the Broncos, he and his family lived in a church. And I think he had 7 brothers and sisters. I asked him about him recently. And your dad went over there and spent an evening with the family. And I thought that was one of the best stories ever to come out of the Super Bowl. But before the game, Fred Gerke was the general manager, handed out the striped socks, which were infamous from the first couple of years of the Broncos before there was a bond burning in the parking lot to get rid of the vertically striped socks. And only one player came out in the socks in the pregame warm-ups. He didn't expect them to wear it in the game. And that was the backup offensive lineman, Glenn
Fry. Hyde.
Glenn Hyde.
Lumpy.
Yeah. And he came out and wore them during, and they put one at each, and the players didn't get it, didn't understand it. But I remember that distinctly because I know my heart thumped because even though I wasn't here from the beginning of the Broncos, that there was a team mired in mediocrity and just total awfulness for years that went to its first Super Bowl.
My greatest Super Bowl memory, or leading up to the Super Bowl, make a quick story here. I was a freshman at Fort Lewis College in Durango. Came home for all the big games in '77. I was there when they beat the Raiders to go to the first Super Bowl. My brother Steve, my cousin Mark, and a bunch of family members were there. Everybody ran out in the field, tore down the goalposts, etc. My brother Steve and my cousin Mark ran up in the Old South stands at the old Mile High Stadium. My brother Steve took down the Colorado flag that was hanging there that day. My cousin Mark took down the American flag that was hanging that day. And now they're both family heirlooms that sit packed away.
So they were stolen.
They were stolen from the old South stands of the old Mile High Stadium. And one more quick thing, I went back down to Durango for the Broncos loss to the Cowboys in that first Super Bowl, and somebody was serving Orange Crush Punch, and it was Everclear, 7-Up, and Orange Sherbet. And I didn't have any idea how strong Everclear was. At halftime, I stood up after about 3 big glasses of that, promptly fell over and cracked my head on a table. What do you think of that?
Incredible. I found it funny. DeMarcus Ware has only been with the Broncos for a couple of years. Said in the last day or so, we're trying to bring back the Orange Crush. I don't know that you can do that. I mean, you can only be the Purple People Eaters once, Doomsday Defense.
Steel Curtain.
All of those. Steel Curtain lasted for a long time. It doesn't exist anymore, but I've kind of referred to it as Orange Crush 2.0. It's kind of like a rebooting of the original Orange Crush. Do you think that this defense will be considered better than that defense if it does win the Super Bowl?
I do, because that Orange Crush defense took that team so far, but it had a lot of cracks in the Super Bowl and the Cowboys beat them. I would think, yes, this team has rode that defense all the way. And what I say about that, how many close games have they won now? Is it 11 games
11
that they've won?
11.
Of 7 points or under?
Yeah.
To me, that's especially in this day and age. So yes, I think this has a chance to be the greatest defense of all time in Denver.
Greatest Broncos, in a word, greatest Broncos team of all time.
Oh, the '98 team.
And ESPN agrees. They went through each team in the NFL and said, and even though people tend to think of the 97 team, won the first Super Bowl, the 98 team, even without Zimmerman at left tackle, was a better team than 97. Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village, Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer, I-25 in Bellevue. Cooney Lexus.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village. For exceptional customer service and world-class amenities, take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
Patrick Saunders with us. He's long followed and long covered the Denver Broncos, been a beat writer, now the #1 beat writer for the Colorado Rockies, getting ready in the next 3-4 weeks for the Rocky season. But first, he's headed off to cover, you've been covering the playoffs with the Broncos, and you'll be in. Is there an area, are you concentrating on the Panthers?
I am. Yeah. I am. I just found that out today, that my job essentially will be to be the Panthers beat guy for a week, which I'm looking forward to because I've never done that role.
And we'd say Troy Rink, who covers the Broncos now, that was his job when the Broncos last went to the Super Bowl. Exactly. He spent the week with the Seattle Seahawks. You'll be, what we referred to in the South during the Civil War is, you'll be sleeping in the enemy's camp.
That's right.
They sent a reporter from the Memphis Commercial Appeal during the Civil War to sleep with the Union. And he was kind of infiltrating the Union, so you'll be bringing us up, and you'll join us as you did in New York. And as you point out, we'll be doing the show every day from New York, and we hope you'll join us. Patrick brought up today, that was a wild week in New York.
That was
with
crazy.
The likes of Kevin Costner, and at one point we had a Super Bowl coach in the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and we had Kevin Costner, and Troy Reed couldn't understand why I was asking Kevin Costner about Waterworld. He was trying to grab my leg going, no, that was like the worst movie of all time, and I enjoyed it. So we will have we did last year, we'll have the Shannon Sharps of the world. We'll have former Broncos, Hall of Fame players and coaches, and Patrick will be there with us. We end the show today on the Sports Show with the 6 Broncos players sitting here today, Tuesday. It is Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
On Tuesday, before the week of the hype, what are the 6 players in your mind that have to step up? We'll start with number 6, and we'll go there. I'll go first. Number 6, Brandon Marshall is going to be a spy, or he's the leading tackler. He's going to be a guy that they depended on in coverage last week. He's going to be depended on to help out coverage, a better coverage linebacker than people give him credit for. He was the leading tackler on the team. He's going to be responsible for keeping an eye on Cam if Cam does break out. Number 5, T.J. Ward. It's so important that he comes back from the spring. He twisted his ankle again, same ankle that he's had problems with. He is so critical again in the safety in the box kind of situation to watch for the run game and also to keep an eye on Cam Newton. And he's a leader on that team. Number 4, we talked about Demaryius Thomas, and you don't know where to put him on the list, but Demaryius Thomas has got to have a game. We're waiting. Have a game, DT. Have a game. Step up. You're a $70 million man. You've been a waste of time this year. Number 3, C.J. Anderson. They didn't have a running game this past week. It was not any good. They rushed for 100 yards, but that was a hard working 100 yards. It ended up being 99.
And 12 came from Peyton Manning.
Yeah. At one point in the game, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were the leading rushers for their teams. Number 2, Von Miller needs another game like that. Because he may have, Peyton Manning earned $2 million, as I wrote. Von Miller earned a $100 million contract from that game last week. He can make it $125 million or more if he has another big game. And number 1, Peyton Manning. This is a way for him to go out. Be like John Elway, Peyton. Go out and have the best game of your season. Have a Green Bay Packers kind of game. And if he does that, I think the Broncos have a chance of winning the game. Patrick will finish off with us.
All right, my number 6 guy is Derek Wolfe. Tremendous inside presence against both the Steelers, I thought, and particularly against the Patriots. I think the Broncos are going to need, I know Cam Newton's not a pocket guy, but they need to collapse the pocket. If he can do similar what he did against Brady and New England against a better offensive line, I think that's huge. Brandon McManus, I think it's going to be a close game. He's been nails in the playoffs. I think if it's a close game and he can hit a long field goal or two, he's going to be huge. I know kickers aren't supposed to be a big deal, but we know through the years they are in the Super Bowl. DT, Demaryius Thomas, we've talked about him ad nauseum. Enough said. Chris Harris, I think, could be the difference maker in this game. I think he's playing, now that he's healthy with that shoulder, at his all-pro level. I think he can take away some of the advantages. And the thing I like about Harris is if Cam Newton breaks pocket and scrambles around, I think Chris Harris is good enough to stick with guys when they're breaking their own assignments. So I think Chris Harris is huge. Von Miller, you talked about Brandon Marshall and the spying thing. I think Von Miller, in certain instances, is going to have a similar role. He's going to have to be able to adjust, cover the run, spy Cam Newton some, and also pick up some receivers coming out of the backfield. I think it's going to be huge. And my number one guy, as it was for you, is Peyton Manning. I expect him to have a good game. They talked about the freshness, having all that time off. Now he's got 2 full weeks to prepare, to get ready. This could be the final game of his career. I think Peyton Manning has a chance to have a Peyton Manning-like game. And I don't think it's going to be a case of just don't lose it for us. I really believe Peyton Manning has the ability still, last time maybe in his career, to actually help this team win a game and not just be a game control guy. I really think he can have a 3-touchdown game.
And you can take your foam finger with you this time. Patrick Saunders, kidding. Patrick Saunders, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome,
Hope you had a good time. It moved by quickly. We'll turn to Molly with a news update, but we'll tell you again that you can join us on Denver Post at your convenience and watch the show again or see clips throughout the sports section of what we've done here today. You can go to woodypage.com. You can go to our YouTube channel, Facebook, and we'll see you again tomorrow from 2 to 3 on The Sports Show.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom with some sad news for animal lovers. The Denver Zoo announced today that Sally the orangutan has died. Sally was a fan favorite during her 2 decades in Denver. Zoo officials say Sally had been suffering from growths on her abdomen that had become painful and led to constipation. Zookeepers say they noticed a significant decline in Sally's condition recently, so on Sunday they made the tough decision to euthanize her. At the age of 48, the Sumatran primate was the matriarch of the great apes family at the zoo. By all accounts, Sally had a good life in Denver. She gained a lot of fans who loved to watch her comb her beard. She also made headlines for her artwork. She loved to paint on canvas. Sally lived 20 years longer than the average Sumatran orangutan. The median lifespan is 28.2 years. She was born at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in Colorado Springs back in 1967. The Denver Zoo is home to 4 other orangutans.